Here's your Farm and Ranch report from the Montana Ag Network.
Good Thursday morning as we look to our Farm and Ranch headlines. The Trump administration will delay part of a planned tariff increase on China until December. The tariffs will be implemented on December 15th, and the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer says certain products are even being removed from the tariff list based on health, safety, national security, and other factors, and will not face the additional tariffs of 10%. Now, this move does give Lighthizer more time to negotiate with China, which the two sides are set to meet next month again in Washington. However, those tariffs threaten to again stall the negotiations as China responded by announcing 2 weeks ago a halt to purchases of all U.S. agricultural products. The two sides did talk over the phone this week, and Trump called the talks positive, adding a deal could be coming very soon. Looking to statewide news now, the Montana Department of Agriculture's annual pesticide disposal events will be held in several locations across the state in September. The collection events will be held in Wolf Point, on September 17th, then on September 18th in Sidney, September 19th in Miles City, and finally September 20th in Billings. The annual events have collected more than 638,000 pounds of waste pesticides since 1994. The department asks participants to pre-register online by September 9th before the collection events begin so products can be managed safely and efficiently. There's no charge for the first 200 pounds of material, and over 200 pounds will be assessed at $1 per pound. Those interested in having their waste pesticides recycled should visit the Montana Department of Agriculture website today. Don't go too far. We'll check in on the wheat progress across the nation after this.
Am I ever a lucky tire? My days are always filled with adventure. In the mountains, getting dirty, up early, and home late. I'm a Cooper, so I can get through the most rugged terrain with the peace of mind my owner needs. But if anything ever does happen, I always know Tire-Rama will take care of me. Right now, you can save up to $145 on a new set of qualifying Cooper tires, including the Discoverer AT3, STT Pro, and ST Max. Offer ends August 31st. Visit your neighborhood Tire-Rama or TireRama.com for details.
Roots, they anchor CHS to Montana. CHS is your partner for feed, for fuel, for agronomy, for grain. CHS is the largest agricultural cooperative in the world. CHS leads because our owners know this land and know how to make the most of this modern farming world. CHS is your cooperative. CHS, creating connections to empower agriculture.
As we come back here on this Thursday morning, the winter wheat harvest is still underway here in Montana, but nationally is pretty much in the books for 2019. USDA's Brad Rippey shared more on this year's winter wheat harvest with us.
89% finished nationally. That is behind the 5-year average of 96%, and last year's 93%.
Montana and Idaho are the last two states with the most winter wheat left to harvest, with Montana halfway through the winter wheat harvest itself. As for spring wheat, Rippey says it is underway in all 6 major spring wheat producing states.
As we come down to the end of the season, we see the spring wheat condition at 69% good to excellent, 8% very poor to poor. That's just a little bit below where we were finishing up last year when we were at 75% good to excellent and 5% very poor to poor.
As we reported earlier this week, Montana's spring wheat harvest is currently at 10% complete and progressing. And finally here this morning, as that wheat harvest wraps up nationwide, the Farm Service Agency reports farmers were unable to plant a record 19 million acres this year due to flooding and wet conditions, of course, mainly in the Midwest. The recent round of Department of Ag reports details the prevent plant acres, which are 17.49 million more than last year. Of those prevented plant acres, more than 73% were in 12 Midwestern states. And then, of course, looking mainly at those crops of corn, soybeans, and a bit of wheat. The data suggests prevented plant acres totaled 11 million acres for corn and 4.4 million acres for soybeans. So a lot of unplanted acres, but of course, there's a lot of use of cover crops to go onto that ground that went unplanted for those row crops. And that will do it for this morning.